Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining A Toast to the Men Network again on the Tuesday with your guy S.D. Booker. Again, it's Tuesday, like I said, and we got the wonderful, the inspirational, the intelligent Phoenix Rising with us. Let's go ahead and bring her on. What's going on, Phoenix?
Oh, good. Everything's good.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to see that intro?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was beautiful. I like it.
yeah. I try to add a little something to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, man. We gotta. Actually, how was your week? How's your week been so far?
Oh, it's been good. Yeah, it's been good. Our weather got a little cold here, but so that's a little, but oh
Yeah,
well.
yeah. We had some rain, some wind,
Mm-hmm.
so some high wind.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it
Same here.
is. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it is. But we have uh, some interesting topics today. Very interesting topics. First of all, I want to thank. I want to say the toasters, but I want to give you guys a different name because the toasters. That's for a toast to the network. You know, that's with me on my thing, my solo thing. Well, what do you think? The Masters, Wizards. What's going on, brother? What's going on? That's my brother. Check him out. His podcast out. That's my guy Orlando. Element One podcast. That's my guy. Yeah, I figured something out right there, Phoenix. You know, what's up, brother Booker? Hi, Phoenix. Yeah, so I've been messing around with the little settings, and so I figured some things out on it. Yeah, so I can show the comments when I want to.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I had to start investing. Got my
Mm.
girl Christine Tarver. Says hello everyone. Hello Christine. Yes. So yeah, I had to invest, get that StreamYard logo removed so we could do our own thing. And so yeah, thank y'all for joining us. He said, "I see you, bro. Come on." Yeah, that guy, he invests in his technology. I got to give him that. He invests. He's uh he's a professional, so I give him that. My boy Orlando. So let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's see. This first topic is well, let me do this. Let me do the banners. Um, this first topic is the art and curse of giving and receiving. Now, this is a topic you came up with about a week ago, I think. You said people really don't know the process or the importance of giving and receiving. Um, and I started thinking about that. I was like, man, that's so important. We've got to be really careful. We put emphasis on about being careful about who we give to, but you got to be careful about who you receive from also.
Hmm.
Yeah, you really do. My guy, Immortal Minds, my boy Soul, at ease, let go, my boy. Yeah, giving and receiving, the gift and the curse of giving and receiving. You want to kick that off since you came up with the title, or you want me to go ahead and dig in?
Go ahead. You're on it. Go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts.
All right. So, man, that's wow. Okay, so I know people are gonna say, man, he's always using uh, intercourse as symbolism. So, or the process of creating a child. But I think it goes back to that creation. And so, just like with creation, us coming together, man and woman, the woman has to be careful about who she receives from, and the man has to be careful who he gives to. But that expands also because the mind is also a womb, and we both have the womb of the mind. So in the mind, we're giving and receiving. But even through intercourse, the man is receiving too. He's receiving her energy, although he's not receiving a seed. She's receiving a seed. He's receiving her energy. So there's still a give and take on both ends there too.
Hmm.
And so let's put this in the material world. Let's step out the spiritual world for a minute and put it in the material world. Um, let's say someone wants to help. We'll take my guy Soul, or even Orlando. Both of these guys and I have helped each other. We've exchanged energies in this material world, say spiritual, but we've helped each other on our podcasts, our platforms. Now, initially, Soul reached out to me to come onto his podcast. I initially reached out to him to join my book release, but he reached out to me to come on his podcast as a guest. Now, if if he had extended the invitation to the wrong person, because Soul and I had never met until recently physically. We met for the first time physically a few weeks ago. But if he had extended the invitation to the wrong person, not really knowing me, I possibly could have destroyed everything he worked for on this podcast. He didn't know what I was going to say. Now he had an inkling because we had a rapport, and he followed me, I'm following him. He's listening to me, I'm listening to him. So he had an inkling. He went on a hunch. He felt comfortable, but you never know. I could have gone on there and had a motive to destroy Soul. And so here he is. He's handing over. He's giving a seed to me, right? And here I'm back giving him, rotten goods. Not you know nothing nothing that's fruitful. And no, that's real.
Okay.
I think about that right now. Like we're just starting with our Tuesdays, but I think about sometimes if I don't know the person and I bring the wrong person to the floor from the chat,
Mm-hmm.
man, you don't know what their intentions are. You just really don't know. And so I think about that. But you know, that was an exchange there. So Soul had fertile grounding, fertile soul. I had fertile soul. So there was a fruitful bonding, a fruitful union there. But if one of us was off, if one of us had bad intentions, or he could have been saying, "Hey man, I have an ulterior motive to. I'm gonna make him look bad. I'm gonna make SD look bad. I'm gonna ask him the hardest questions on this platform in front of thousands of people." It could have been his motive, right? But we both had good motives, and so there was a good exchange going on there. Just like with Orlando, just like with me and you. But sometimes we'll receive something from somebody because we're in need. We're desperate sometimes, or we really need this, and we don't know the motive of the person. We don't know the intent, where is it's coming from, and we'll receive it and we'll regret it later on. And I mean that happens a lot. That happens a lot. And we plant seeds and things in people we shouldn't, and we regret them also. Uh, but how do we vet? How do we vet who to receive from, who to give to? How do we vet that? I think we got to go with our intuition. I don't think we can solely trust our minds. I don't think we can solely trust our heart. I think we got to go with that gut, that intuition, to really protect ourselves. Yeah, that's what I got. What do you think?
I agree. I agree. But the intuition, um, it's very interesting. The Germans call it the gut feeling. The word gut in German means God. That's God in German is gut, Gut.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Okay. Now I did. I did a lot of research, like in Hebrew, going back to Hebrew, because in the Bible it says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." So I got really, really curious as to what did that really mean. And when you go back to the Hebrew, now we're going back to this gut feeling. Now be sure that the word heart in the Bible in Hebrew says stomach. Then we go, okay, the gut, the stomach, the heart are all interchangeable words. Okay,
Mhm.
now then it talks about in the Bible the heart being desperately wicked and being able to lead us astray. Okay, now now you start getting into the health aspect of it.
Right.
When your gut bacteria, they have done study after study, and you can go research right now something called the gut brain connection.
Hmm. Yes.
Whatever bacteria are residing in your gut, they are the antenna for the messages you're going to get.
Okay. Repeat that again.
Whatever bacteria is residing in your gut, those are the antenna for all the messages that you are receiving. Now that
Okay.
gets really serious and almost creepy because I mean, the way our culture is today, the way the food supply is and stuff like that, it's really easy to get what they call an overgrowth of bad bacteria in the gut. And that's just, I mean, in the United States alone, and they call it, there's a name for it. It's called Candida albicans is the actual medical name for it. They have done an estimation that at least 95% of the people in the United States have a serious overgrowth of Candida albicans in the gut.
Mm.
So, what do you think is going on with our culture? Can it be the gut brain connection that we have going on? Why things seem to be so messed up? Because literally, oh man, you got to watch that documentary if you get a chance. There's several of
I
them out
will.
there. But these doctors are proving, they're showing everything and how that people can have a certain perspective. They can treat people a certain way, but the instant they start building the good gut bacteria to a proper level, their whole personality changes.
Right. Right.
People that were kind of always known as mean and nasty and egotistic all of a sudden become, more of an angelic nature, and they're like, okay, we got to look at this. So I agree with what you're saying, but we got to be sure that we're keeping ourselves balanced, which is a
Mm.
challenge. It can be a real
It, it,
challenge.
it is a challenge, but that goes back to something we talked about before. I think that was the series, well, not the series, the episode when we were talking about the chakras, and then you mentioned that some believe, we, I guess we have to say it's theory
Yeah.
that we have three brains. The brain that we know that's inside the
Hmm.
head, the heart, and then the stomach,
The gut.
the gut.
Hmm.
And a lot of times we neglect that gut brain.
In the gut, from what those studies showed, the gut has 10 times, I think it was, more neurons than the brain itself. And the heart has like 2 times more. So the gut is your center. Well, it makes sense. Think about this. As a baby forming in your mother's womb, what formed first?
Your gut.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
cord and the solar
Yeah.
plexus, the little
Yeah.
cord, the solar
Right.
plexus, and then the little baby grew. So
Right.
that's your whole seat of energy. That's the seat. And again, remember, gut means God. That's your God connection right there. Now that gets pretty serious when you start looking at what we're putting in our bodies and what grows, what kind of foods and stuff like that. Alcohol is one that they actually bring up. I think, and some of those researchers bring up that one because that one really, really like highly feeds the bad colonies of bacteria. They love it, and they even went so far as to say on one
Man, I ain't giving up my cognac, man.
Oh,
I'm
hey,
not
hey, hey, okay. Oh,
I
don't
ain't
say that. You weren't supposed to say
I'm
that
messing.
because we didn't even
I'm
know
messing
you.
with you.
We didn't
I'm,
even know you had it until you opened your mouth.
no,
No, but
but no,
yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
one thing that was very interesting in the research to me was that one of the scientists brought up. He said, "Have you ever wondered why they call liquor spirits?" I was like,
Yeah.
and he was talking about how that it literally opens a portal in the gut for dark entities to enter with the growth of that bacteria in the gut. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
So he goes, that's the whole reason they named it spirits, to let you know what it will do. I was
Yeah.
like, woo.
But I have to say this in defense of spirits. There's a time and place. No one should ever overconsume. Uh, but even the word says, "Hey, when a brother's in sorrow, give him some wine."
Well,
Sometimes,
you might not want to hear what the Hebrew says about it. Then
go
I
ahead,
mean,
go ahead,
I
go
can
ahead,
say
go
it,
ahead.
but if you don't want to hear
No,
it, I
no,
won't.
no. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I was curious. I was really curious about that. I mean, I'm curious. People used to call me Curious George for a reason, but uh, I wanted to know too because and I think it's in let's see, Proverbs. It says wine is raging, a strong drink is, and it's talking about it all the time. And then you see another one that says a little wine is good for the stomach. You see all these conflicting, right? So I went to every single one of those references of wine in the Bible
Mhm.
in Hebrew, because Hebrew is the original language. This Bible that we've had has been translated 36 times, and it's all over the place. It's not,
Right,
they missed a whole bunch, but if you actually can take it back to the original Hebrew, it's going to blow your mind, because it's not a religious book, it's a law book.
right, right,
It's
right.
not
That's what
religious.
people
Religion,
miss. It's not
it's
religion at
meant,
all.
no, religion has really messed it up.
Right.
But wine, they translated fresh pressed grape juice, which is one of the most healing things on the planet. You can actually go on the there's, I think, Joanne, I can't remember what her name is, but there's several doctors that have the grape cleanse, I think it's called. The grape, you've probably seen that. But they have found that there's something in fresh pressed grapes that is almost identical to the human blood, and it will literally build your immune system, rebuild it from bottom up. So they've been treating every kind of disease with it. Well, when I found all the references that referred to wine in a positive way, when you go to the Hebrew, it literally said unfermented fresh pressed grapes. It literally said that. So you see how
Mm,
that translation mixed it up.
right,
So, but
right.
in the instances where it was talking about wine as the wine is raging, or something, strong drink is, however it talked about it, and you know, uh, there's all kinds of references where people were saying, wine wasn't good, and that was where it was talking about the alcoholic or the fermented one it was talking about. So,
Right.
and that's just an interesting point.
Yeah,
I
I was joking. I do
Yeah,
know. Yeah, I was joking. I do know. Really, if we want to be honest, we should do the fresh, pure red wine. If we want
man, it would be so awesome to actually have an orchard. I've actually only ever gathered wild grapes up north. The wild grapes they grow clear up to the top of the trees. You have vines, but they're itty bitty, like the size of your fingernail. But I went and gathered some one time, and actually cold pressed them just through a juicer. Oh my goodness, there's nothing on the planet that tastes like this. I am serious. It is
wow,
like,
wow.
it comes through as this clear lavender liquid, and I mean, you literally feel your vibration as soon as it touches your tongue. You literally feel your vibration rise. It is unbelievable. I
Yeah,
just wish I could get my hands on some more. There's none around here.
yeah. I do enjoy a good glass of red wine. Now let's get back to this gut though. Let's get back to
Mhm.
this curse, this gift and curse of giving and receiving.
The
And
gut
these
feeling.
three brains, this gut feeling, but these three brains, to really be in a space where you can make a sound judgment. We agree it's the gut, but we can't abandon the mind and the heart either. And I was here thinking, I was like, man, that's really where it all lies. To reach the highest level, those 3 points, those three brains have to be on point,
In
the
sync.
in sync, the mind, the heart, and the gut, the stomach. Because we've seen people, bright mind, corrupt heart, but they may be disciplined with their eating, with their intake, what they eat, or they're not disciplined with their eating. They got a good heart, but got a few screws loose. They don't always make the best decisions. It's so
Nobody's perfect.
yeah, yeah. So nobody's perfect. So do you think it's possible for us to get to that point where we make those sound decisions, knowing how to give and receive? Because we've all been had. I think we've all been had, and I would say most of us have gotten over too. Have gotten over. Now, it may not be that you receive something monetarily or in the physical form, but some woman, some man gave you their heart that you knew damn well you went into them like that, or they gave you their attention and you knew damn well you went into them like that, so you didn't appreciate it. There's different ways to give and receive. So how do we get to that point, or do we? Can we ever get to that point?
I don't know. I feel like knowledge is infinite, and it's like, do you think that people that have lived here 100 years still feel like they know? I don't think so. I mean, it's just kind of like, because knowledge is infinite, there's always something. I know for myself, the more that I learn, the more I feel like I just don't know.
I
Because
think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know. It's like the more that you start to learn, especially when you go to some of these things that, for example, religion, we've been taught hard and fast that this is how it is, and this is how it is, and this is how it is. Okay, so maybe you grew up with that perception and you thought, yeah, this is how it is because I was taught that. That's all I heard. Now you start getting into the, going back and translating back to the Hebrew, and you find out nothing, almost nothing is what they said it was.
Right.
So what that does is it opens a door where you're seeing this enormous, almost limitless world that was never there before, or that it was there, but you didn't perceive it was there because of how you were taught and how you were programmed. And
Right.
what I'm finding is it goes that way with absolutely everything in our life. We've been programmed from every aspect of everything in our life. And so once you actually get past that and you break one little door open on that programming, it's so huge. You're just like, man,
Yeah.
what I learned to open that little door is like a grain of sand on the beach.
Mm.
So I don't feel like any of us can ever say we know it all on anything, because there's not. Because I could ask you any question right now and you could answer according to what you think you know, but there's 1,000 answers or more. There's probably as many answers as there are people.
Yeah.
And all of them are right. All of them are right to some extent. Just like, I'm sure you've probably seen the poem. We had it in school. You probably did. It was in a lot of the older readers. But it was called The Blind Men and the Elephant. And it talked about these 3 blind men who went to see, or 5 blind men who went to see an elephant. And, they're groping around, and the first one falls against the elephant's leg. And he says, "Oh, I swear this elephant is just like a tree." And the other one, he's feeling around. He hits the elephant's ear. He gets this big flappy thing, and he goes, "No, this elephant's like a fan." And the other one gets his trunk, and he says, "He's like a snake." The other one gets his tail, and he says, "It's like a rope." And they all sat there and argued long and loud about their perceptions. Well, they were all right,
Right.
but they were all wrong too.
Right. Right.
So I just feel like we all have a little bit of the picture. Nobody has all of it. And I don't know if we can ever have all of it, just because it's infinite.
Yeah.
Knowledge
I
is
don't think.
infinite. And infinite means there's no beginning and no end, right?
I agree. I think it's designed that way, and for a good reason. There's always someone uh, that needs something that's not totally 100% somewhere in their life, and so we can sort of say that's the thorn in our side, right? That keeps us humble, to where we need help. We got to lean on a brother or sister to do that for us. You know, I was talking to Yaya the other day, and she said something. she said something, and I was like, and I couldn't do it. I didn't know it, or I couldn't do something. And I said, I can't be great at everything. Like
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
And
Like,
that's true. That's true. And in the instant that we start thinking that we're good at everything, and we don't realize how many doors there are that we have not even begun to open yet,
right,
I think that's when we start, what's the word? that's when we start going downhill in more ways than one. Even aging. I believe that we start really aging. I think it starts in the mind, by the mind thinking, oh, I've opened all the doors, when there's a billion doors that haven't even been touched and you haven't even found them yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I say every single day, if you don't learn one thing, the day is wasted. One new thing, something new.
Right. Right.
Because I just feel like that's so important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and then people have said this before. The day you feel like you can't learn anything else, y- you need to just go. You're taking up space at
Well,
that point.
well, and what happens is literally the mind puts out a signal and the body starts aging, deteriorating rapidly.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
it is, now believe it or not, what it is they found is when you get to that certain point, your body actually, and again, it's a mental thing that has to happen first before anybody passes of any disease. Now, dis-ease is a
Mm.
dis-ease of the mind.
Right.
So once your mind becomes, has a dis-ease of no longer being open and realizing that there's more, what it does is it sends out a signal and it causes a huge overgrowth of the damaging bacteria. Now, cancer is a fungus. Okay, now we're starting to get into this because the overgrowth of bacteria, Candida albicans, is a fungus. 90% of Americans at least have the overgrowth. Okay, what's going on? We have an epidemic of cancer. 1 in every 2 now, I think, is the that's pretty that's pretty serious.
Right. Right.
So now, is it a disease of the mind? They've also been able to prove that cancer is an anxiety disease. Whatever it is, the
Yeah.
mind puts out a trigger of some type that puts in motion that bad bacteria to start just ballooning up. And it starts as actual fungal growth, almost like a mushroom in areas. That's a cancer tumor. It's a fungus. You can actually treat it like you would fungus. But I still believe it has to start in your mind.
Wow. Wow. That's so true. Man, the mind is so important.
It,
But
it is.
but the stomach is, well. It's
They
three
are
brains.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
actually watch that documentary about the mind brain connection, or the gut brain connection rather, you're going to see that it is all the mind. The mind
Right.
is not up here, because if, again, we need to go back to the beginning of how the baby formed. How does the baby form? First of all, there's that little cord. The first thing is that little cord that goes right into the solar plexus. The heart is the next thing. So look, gut, heart, then the spinal cord forms, and the brain or the mind. So that's exactly the way it was formed. So that's exactly what we need to look at. Gut first, heart, and mind. Yeah,
Right.
brain, whatever you want to call it. I mean,
Right. Yeah. Brain. And yeah. Well, it's three brains. Yeah. We'll say
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
Yes.
The whole, I think that the mind is actually all three of them, the whole completion of the three.
Yeah. Yeah. The mind. Yeah. I would say is the three together. Yeah. Yeah. Orlando 11-1 podcast says, where can we find the documentary?
Oh goodness, I have something called Flix Tour. I think it's on Flix Tour. I believe my son said it's on Netflix. Um, it may even be on YouTube. I think there's parts of it on YouTube. It may be broken up though. Um, uh, what is it? Amazon Prime, I think, has it. I think I've seen it on there. The gut brain connection.
The gut brain connection.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's quite a few doctors talking about it out there now, but there was a huge documentary done a couple years ago that, I mean, they exposed so much about it. It was crazy.
Okay. So when we go back to giving and receiving,
Mm-hmm.
there's a trust that has to be formed. All right. There's a trust that says, I trust to give you this, that you're going to do right by it. And um, I trust to receive this from you, that you don't have another motive. There's a trust being formed. So when everything is clicking, it's failure proof, I would think. When everything's clicking on both sides within that trust, it's failure proof. I think people get swindled and people invest in the wrong people or things because they're not listening. They're not being still and listening to those three brains in relationships, in business. Uh, yeah, that's the main thing. Relationships. Well, it's all relationships, but intimate relationships, business relationships. That's how they get swindled and feel taken advantage of because they're not listening to their inner voice that's talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
They want what they want, emotion.
You know, yeah. And Teal Swan addresses that. What was really interesting, I had to go back and listen to that several times, because she says everything is give and receive. So she said that you have a lot of people that are givers, and we're giving, and we don't really think about receiving. But she said subconsciously we're, depending on what kind of things we went through as a child, what kind of rejection, what kind of trauma, the giving is hoping, because it's a universal thing. Give and receive is an automatic. You give, you will receive somewhere.
Right.
But she said what a lot of people don't realize is that subconsciously, when we give, we're hoping to receive love, or we're hoping to receive acceptance, or we're hoping to receive whatever it is. And she said that's a natural thing. But she said people don't understand. They don't really realize that there's no such a thing as, just giving freely and letting it go. You're hoping to get one of your needs met by it, because that's just the law of the universe. If you give, you receive.
Right.
And a lot of people have their receivers closed. And man, that's kind of a big subject.
It is. I think I fell into that. I think that was
Mhm.
me at one point. I had a I would say a hard time receiving things from people.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was I was used to giving things to people, and what it was, I didn't want to be vulnerable because when you receive, there is some vulnerability to it. I didn't want to be vulnerable for someone to say, "I gave that to him. I did that." I didn't want to be vulnerable, so I did most of the giving. And yeah, Yaya,
Mm.
even with compliments,
Oh
you know,
wow.
Yaya would say, "Can you just take a compliment? Can you just take a compliment?" I don't know what that is, but I'm over
Okay,
that now.
oh wow, that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so
But
let
I'm
me
telling
tell
you,
you
let me
something.
finish this though. Let me finish this thought. Keep that thought. But I know this is the season for me to receive. Like I've received a lot in the last few months. I'll say the last 2 years. I received a lot. I received a lot more. I think more in a concentrated time frame than ever before. And so I know this is my season to receive. And my guy Lone Star was doing the readings about 2 weeks ago. Remember?
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, I'm showing that this isn't the time for romance for you." So I knew the brother didn't want to say it. My brother Lone Star was stuttering around it because he's like, "Man, this brother married. How do I say this? This brother's married." But I'm glad he said it because it was confirmation. What I was feeling inside, like I can't give anymore. Right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
receive. I gotta
Yeah.
receive. So yeah, that's
Hmm.
that's true. Yeah, I'm past that now. But yeah, I can attest to that. Yes.
So let me ask you a question. This is real interesting. So as you were growing up and you observed the adults around, did you see somebody trying to give, like maybe your parents or whoever, somebody around you? Did you ever see this happen where somebody tried to give and, oh no, 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 you don't need to do that? Did you see that? How
No,
did you see this happen if somebody tried to give, depending on what it was?
I think I don't remember saying that. I think what impacted me was seeing my mom give a lot.
Oh, I see, from that aspect. Hmm.
Yeah, seeing my
But
mom
did
give a
she
lot.
did she did she receive though? Did you see her receive a lot?
I didn't see her receive a lot.
See, me too. That's what
Yeah, I
I'm
didn't see
wondering.
my
Is
mom,
it
but she gave a lot.
exactly? My
And,
dad too. My dad was a giver. I mean, he would give the shirt off his back, but I didn't
right.
see him receive.
And
So I'm wondering,
I've literally given the shirt off my back, like literally.
right,
Yaya
right.
has witnessed. My brother's like, man, I love that sweater. I'm like, man, you
Yeah,
like the sweater? And I take the sweater. I took it off and gave it to him. Like, you giving me
right.
this? Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
I just wonder sometimes if we observe a certain thing, if we observe, our parents or whatever, if we observe them giving, 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 but really not receiving, and so we kind of form that that's how it should be. That's kind of what I'm
Right.
wondering, because I've seen that so much growing
Yeah,
up with my
and
my
it's
father.
not healthy though. It's not healthy.
Exactly, it isn't
Yeah.
because eventually, because the laws of nature are give and take, give and receive. If you're given and not receiving, and again,
Right.
it's not that the universe is not trying to give back to you,
Right.
because I mean, if you give, the universe is going to bring it back to you in one way or the other. However, if we have our receivers blocked or clogged up or whatever, we're not receiving anything, and we perceive it as, oh, nobody's giving. No, it's that I'm not receiving. That's what it is.
Yeah,
And we can actually feel burned out. We start feeling burned out because we feel like we're given, it's one-sided, but the whole problem is that our receivers are blocked and clogged. And how do we unblock them? That's a big thing. How do we unblock them?
sometimes they're forced open. Because we're sending out signals too, where people are not compelled to give to us because we don't send out those kind of signals that we're ready
Because
to
yeah,
receive.
because we're repelling it. Yes,
Yeah,
because yeah, you're
yeah. They're
right.
not consciously saying I don't want to give to her or him,
Right,
but it's a
exactly.
signal we're sending out that we got it made, that we're okay, that we don't need anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that kind of a thing that and it might be that might be kind of a similar signal to saying, I know it all. I have it all. No, none
yeah,
of us do. We don't. We all
yeah.
need each other.
We all
Very
need
much
each other.
need each other.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, and before we move on, unless you want to add something else, I'll say this. About 5, 6 years ago, when I was writing the book, when I was going through that whole thing, man, I lost my job. I was doing pretty bad. And someone came up to me. I used to go to the sports bar, and a brother that I knew, we weren't real tight, but we had a good rapport. He came up to me and he said, "Hey man, I might have a job for you." Now, I didn't tell this brother that I was out of work. I didn't tell this brother I got this thing attached to my name that's preventing me from getting a job. I didn't tell him
Mhm,
this.
mhm.
And I was like, man, who told you this? And he said, don't worry about it, man. He said, I know you're prideful. She said he wouldn't say
Oh,
her name. He said she said you're gonna be prideful. I think I know who it
oh,
is.
ouch.
Yeah, I think I know who it was that talked to him. Uh, she and I are real tight, but I never approached her about it. I just let it go. But he said, I know you're prideful, Stacy. I know you're prideful, man.
Uh-oh.
Just accept this. And he set me up. I'm gonna tell you what's so beautiful about this brother. He showed my resume to his manager. The position he was trying to hook me up with, I was going to be his manager. Like, who does that? Like, is who hooks somebody up to be their manager? That they have a rapport with. I wasn't a stranger. So when I interviewed, I was going to take over this young lady's position as manager. She interviewed me. She loved it. She said, "Well, you have no experience in warehousing." She said, "But you do have a lot of experience as a manager, but not in warehousing." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Plus, this isn't paying close to what you're used to making." She said, "But I really want to bring you on." I said, "Well, I'll tell you this, it's not paying even close to what I was making. And I'll be honest with you, um, once this is off of me, I promise I can give you 2 years at least." I said, "It may go longer." I said, "But I'll give you 2 years at least for giving me this opportunity.
Mhm.
I won't just ditch you." and she believed me, and I meant that. But she had to send it up to corporate, which is in Tennessee, and they looked at it and they're like, man, he's not going to be here long. They just didn't trust it. Like, he's not going to be here long. He doesn't have experience in warehousing, and so I didn't get it. But I never forgot that brother, that what he did for me, Troy, what Troy did for me. But that was my first time that I could really remember being open to receiving something from someone like that. Like, that was huge to me. That meant a lot to me. But it did make me go in a place of vulnerability. I had to be vulnerable to receive. Uh, People don't like the word submissive. Vulnerable, submissive, same thing. I had to
Well,
be open.
that makes me think of what about what about being able to ask when you really need help? Is that hard?
It depends. It depends what it is. I don't have that problem as much as I used to.
Let's say you were totally broke. You were so broke and you couldn't pay your electric bill and they were going to shut your lights off tomorrow. Would you have the courage to ask somebody for help?
Nah, I wouldn't.
See, but why? Why? Everybody has.
I go clean windows. I go clean. I would.
I know.
I go do whatever I got to do.
But let's just say you were cleaning windows, but they weren't going to pay you for 2 weeks, because you know how these companies do. You can be working, but a lot of times if it's that tight, I mean, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have your.
I got about 30 candles. I've been waiting on a light. About 30 candles. No, but I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't, and that's probably a downfall. But what's crazy? I wouldn't mind giving the money to someone else.
I know, I know. That's exactly how I've been. But I've been wandering and really going back and checking this and saying, okay, is that one of the keys to opening the receivers is to making yourself ask, even starting with something really small. Even starting with something really small. Hey, I'm not just not sure I know how to do this on my channel on the. Could you give me a hand? You know how to, it takes.
I don't mind. I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
Right. But
the thing too is
when it gets into the monetary thing, that's where most people have blocks, and I think
that's
literally what's blocking our receivers in the monetary realm too, is because we can't ask.
But I think particularly with men, with the monetary thing, with men, it's harder for men to ask when it comes to money.
I don't know. I haven't been a man, but I know it's hard for me to ask. You're like really hard.
Yeah.
And here's the weird thing. I've had people, offer, hey, if you ever need anything, let me know. But I just haven't been able to bring myself to ask. I don't know what is the problem.
But is the trust form? See, I don't mind asking certain things, information. I've asked Orlando. I've asked Soul information. I think I've asked you for some information. It's a trust. It's a trust that has to be formed. Lone Star, he and I just chatted recently. We were trading knowledge. It's a trust. For me, a trust has to be formed where I can be vulnerable, that you're going to do right with my vulnerability. You're going to do right with my heart.
To me, knowledge and information is a whole different thing than it comes to monetary. And so when I look at that makes me wonder, okay, is that where the block lies? You know what I'm saying? Because
some
knowledge and information,
no,
that's easy,
Nah, not for everybody. Not for everyone. Some people are afraid of looking stupid.
Oh.
Yeah. Some people are afraid of looking stupid. So this goes back to childhood too. Well, I've never had this problem, but some people are afraid to raise their hand. Mm-hmm. Some people are afraid to say, teacher, can you slow down? Teacher, can you repeat that? Because they don't want to look stupid. People will agree with you and nod their head in a conversation. They have no clue what you're talking about.
Okay.
What without stopping you and saying, hey man, can you break that down for me? Well, what does that word mean you used? Because they don't want to come off looking stupid. So I don't think it's easy.
Yeah, nobody's stupid. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle, and that's the thing that
I understand. But I'm just saying how people, think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. No
Hmm.
one's stupid. Yeah, I agree. But you know, try telling a billion people that, right? People
Yeah.
feel how they feel about themselves, So I don't think it's easier than asking for to each his own. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually on a conference last weekend with a lady she's working with the head of the oh, what is it? Massachusetts schools. And she's actually the second superintendent of the schools, if I got it right. Anyway, her whole program is she is trying to get a whole different program into the schools because there's so many children that are categorized as learning disabilities when they're absolutely brilliant. And the reason they say disability is because they don't fit in that mold exactly like all the rest of them, but their IQ is way higher, they're above, they're brilliant. And it just goes to show that they like, so there's like this little cookie cutter that everybody's supposed to fit in or they're stupid.
Right.
And
Right.
the abuse that these poor children go through in these schools is just unbelievable because of that cookie cutter, and it's so foolish. It is just, she was really frustrated and trying to get trying to get something up and going. She actually implemented a program that's just phenomenal to, you know more hands-on schooling for these children.
Yeah. 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 Element One podcast says, for me, I struggle because I've always been in the mindset to give without expectations to
Hmm.
receive. So
Hmm.
I've never expected anything back. This was subconsciously planning an undeserving energy. I agree.
Oh,
I
that makes
agree.
sense. That
I
makes
agree.
sense.
He said
Yeah.
he's evolved since then. I
Wow.
agree. I agree. Um, and I think it's all rooted in childhood. I don't know a
Yeah.
lot about Orlando's childhood, but I know mine's is rooted in childhood.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm over it though, and I can't. I'm talking about recently, recently gotten over it.
Well, I would never say I'm over it because again, I feel like there's so much to learn. I mean,
Mhm.
do you think we ever really are? We can always say, "Oh, I'm 100% healed." I don't think we ever can do that because again, the healing I believe is a learning process. It's more learning, and there's so much. I mean,
I
for
think we can.
example, for example, a baby can come into this world needing healing because of psychological issues of the mother that passed to the child. And so when we start looking at that and we start looking at the ancestral lines and everything, can we
Mhm.
always say we're totally healed, or are we going to say, I'm okay, but I'm still moving forward. I'm okay, but I'm on my way. I'm still, because if we would get to the point where we would say, "Oh, I'm totally healed," wouldn't that also trigger that same response in our body that, "Oh, I don't need to go any further"? I don't know. It's just a thought.
Well, maybe in that aspect, on that thing, we don't need to. I don't know. I don't know. It's a thought. It's a good thought though. But yeah, yeah. Let's move to the next topic. Let's see. Let's see. Did God create us or did we create God? I'll take the lead on this. uh, I think we created God. I think we create God. Um, and then the God we create structures our life and molds our life in the direction we're going or we're going to go. So just a while ago, my brother Orlando, Element One podcast said that he would give without an expectation. And as a result, that put him in an undeserving energy. So that's molding his life, right? And I don't know, you can answer this Orlando. He probably even told himself God wants us to give without expecting anything. He probably told himself that too. So we can all go to the same church and worship the same God for 30, 40 years. I guarantee you, none of us are going to have the same description or list the same attributes of the God We've all been serving for the last 40 years. Some may say he's harsh. Some may say he's very loving. Some may say he's forgiving. Uh, some may say he brings on curses. Some may say, no, God doesn't do that. God doesn't bring on curses. You got different variations of people how they view God. So I think we create God consciously and subconsciously, and that steers our life. Now, is there an all? Yeah, I think there is an all, a creator of all. But let's say a child is born and is abandoned. He's abandoned among the wilderness. Nobody's around, just the animals. And this child, he survives. He grows to be 10 years old, 20 years old, 50 years old. Who's his God? Does he even have a concept of God? The only We only have a concept of a God because we were told this. We were told this by our parents, schools, television, neighbors, friends. But if nobody had ever told us about God, a God, would we have a concept of a God? Or will we still create something in our own minds that there's something greater out here that created me? Would we come up with that on our own? What's your take?
Well, so if I say, let me say God is, and put one blank, one word, and you say your word, and I'll say my word, and let's see what it is. God is what? Put one word. If you can, as close as you can, one word to encompass it.
All.
Love. Okay. So when you think about it, it says in the Bible there are gods many and there are lords many. What in the world is that talking about? It also says in the beginning was the word. Now we just said one word. I said love and you said all.
Mhm.
In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. God was the word.
Right.
Okay. It also says God is love. So was love created, or has love always been and always will be? Was the all created, or has all always been there and always will be?
It is. It was created. Well,
I mean, go
we
back to
created.
the
We all have free will, so we create or don't create this God
by
in our
words,
head
right? By
by
words.
words. By
Yeah.
words. We created. We either say there is a God, or some say there's not a God.
Are they
It's all.
mute? Are they mute?
No, no.
I
I
mean,
know. I know
yeah, I
people
know.
yeah.
So again, let's look at the word created, creation, creator, and creature. All of them have the same root word,
Mhm.
create. Every one of them, it's the same root word, essentially the same meaning.
So we are.
A child is formed with the love energy. A child that comes to this planet. Now, I believe our souls are, before we come here, but I'm just, I believe that soul is part of the all, is part of the love. However, the love energy is what they've identified that actually causes the child to be conceived. It's a love energy. It's a feminine. Love is a feminine energy overall. And every child starts out as a female. They're all females as they're conceived. And as if they're going to be a male at a certain point, the testosterone comes in and changes, cuts off a bunch of, changes different things. I don't know.
I gotta do more research on that. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
big. You're big at pushing this. We start out as females.
Yeah,
So I
it's
gotta do
there.
some more.
Yeah, I thought I sent you a video on that where they're showing that. But yeah,
Yeah.
every child is a female. That's why they won't do an ultrasound till a certain time, because they can't tell if it's going to be a boy or a girl until after a certain point, when the testosterone comes in, and
Mhm.
it affects part of the brain. The testosterone takes over half of the brain, whereas if it's going to remain a girl, it doesn't. That the brain still stays in its original state of conception, but the testosterone takes over half of it for a male to form.
So did God create us or did we create God?
I don't think God was created. I think that's the creation force. How can the creation force be created? It has to
So
start
consciously
somewhere.
in your mind, you create a God in your mind. You have a perception of God, which isn't the same as everyone. So everyone has their own perception of God in their minds. Everyone. Is God the same
Ooh.
in everyone's mind?
Depending on the words we heard, I think it's the words. But um, this is interesting. The root word for word, breath, in Greek or Hebrew.
I
Ah,
think he's right. I think he's right
I
on
think
that.
he is too. I have my dictionary, but
Yeah,
it's
I
closed
think he
here.
is right. Yeah. I think
In
that's
the beginning
the
was the
etymology.
word.
Yeah.
And you know what? The word spirit means breath. So think about all this. This is all tying in. Love, word, breath, spirit, God. I mean, it's all one. It's all one thing.
So is it safe to say I am God? Now you can say it with a you can write it with a lowercase g, but
But the thing is okay. It feels to me like, just feel into that. When you say that, it feels like what you're saying is that I'm the end all be all. There's nothing for me to learn.
no, that's how you're taking it.
Right, right.
What I'm
Think
saying
about it.
is what can God do? Your God.
Hmm.
What can your God do that I can't do?
Right. But if you take a mirror, let's just think of this. Let's just think of a mirror as being, let's just say, okay, that's God. And we shatter this mirror into a billion pieces.
Mhm.
Each one of those pieces is a piece of the mirror, which is us.
Right.
And technically, we can say that's God, but it's not the whole of the mirror, is it?
No, no, but it's the same
It
ingredients,
is.
same
It's the same.
chemicals.
It's a
But
piece
yeah,
of it. Just
it's a
like just
piece
like
of
if you went to the ocean and you took a cup and you got water from the ocean and you brought it home and said, "I have the ocean. This is the ocean."
it. Right.
Okay, it is, but there's more, to where
Right.
it's okay to say that, as long as you keep in your mind that there's a lot more.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
What I see some people do that, but there's a certain thing, and it could be a mental process, but it I see it tend to I see it tend to kind of lock down that part where that there's so much more. There's so much more to find. Whereas again, it's programming. We've been programmed that, oh, God knows everything. So if I'm saying I'm God,
no, what
I don't
you
know.
don't no, you don't want you're scared of people getting too big headed.
No, no, I don't think that that's possible. People can't get too big headed.
Yeah,
That's
they
not
can.
true. I mean, that's not people. That's ego.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the ego in people, but this is the reason I am God. Am I the big God, the all? No, but I am a piece of that.
Absolutely,
And there's
absolutely.
nothing the all can do that I can't do.
Right.
There's nothing. You can't
Hmm.
name one thing the all can do that I can't do. I can create, I can kill, I can destroy, I can give birth, uh,
The
I can
problem is,
heal.
yeah, you're right. The problem is that the all doesn't limit itself, but we limit ourselves. I think.
Exactly. We limit
Yeah,
ourselves.
we limit ourselves.
But this is why we're so powerful if we come together in like minds. I think the word says the two or three come together in my name. All they can do all. So if we come together, say we got Lone Star on board right now. You, me, Lone Star come together with like minds.
Yep, with like minds.
With like minds.
That's
Let
powerful.
let's say my mind. stomach and heart is in the right place. Yours is, the Lone Star's is, and we come together. Nothing can stop us.
Absolutely.
Nothing
Absolutely.
can
I
stop us.
agree.
Yeah, he
And
said,
they actually did a study. They proved that if you got 100 people, only 100 people that you could get on the same vibration, that you could get into a whatever it was through meditation or whatever, if you got 100 people in that instant, you could actually change the entire world because all of our minds are connected. And they
yeah,
said if we could actually get 100 people, for a long time I tried, but it was like people are just at each other all the time, and it's like
yeah,
a perverse vibration. It didn't work.
yeah. I don't need 100 people. Man, give me five, give me 5 people on the
Yeah.
same accord. We can beat 100 people who are not on the same accord.
Oh, absolutely you can,
Yeah,
but they were saying as far as the tipping point for as many people as are on the planet, as many
right.
minds as we have interconnected, the tipping point for people even on the other side of the world to flip instantly would be if we had 100 minds. That's the weight it would take to flip that amount of people's minds.
I got
I
that.
think that's amazing. I
That
mean,
is
100
amazing.
people for how many billion do we have?
It,
That's
it
incredible.
it's
So,
powerful.
so,
My
so
brother Lone
yeah,
Star, yeah, my brother Lone Star says God is born again every day through the human form of us.
yep.
Yes, I agree. I agree, brother. Christine Tarver says she agrees. Let's see. You wanna? I think we're pretty much done with that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So number 3, man, this is switching gears. How to recover from divorce, breakup, or heartbreak. How to recover from divorce, breakup, or heartbreak. Go ahead and lead on this one.
Well, I mean, we have a lot of tools now that maybe 100 years ago, 50 years ago, they didn't have or weren't aware of. They had them, but weren't aware of them. I don't believe there's anything new under the sun. I think that everything's there. It's just that we forget, or, generation to generation, we drop some of the things that we knew. But one thing that's really interesting is if you have a connection with somebody, and again, it's been give, receive, and that's a trust bond, like you said, a trust bond. It's basically becomes a breach of trust on one or both sides. And even if you go on the law side in this United States, probably worldwide, breach of trust is one of the most serious crimes you can ever commit,
Right,
because it's a
right.
trust covenant. I mean, it goes back forever. A trust covenant, a tribal agreement, a treaty. One of the most serious crimes is to break that. Now, let's say you have an agreement and a treaty and you don't grow the same way. Then what? How can you resolve that treaty without hurting? Is there a way? Is there a way to resolve it with both parties being peaceful and not being hurt? That's a question I've had many times.
That's a good question. Um,
Because your energies are so, when you've been married to somebody, your energies are so deeply entwined.
yeah, I think it takes a level of maturity from both parties, how to deliver information and how to receive it. There we go again. Receive and
Yeah.
deliver, right? Give and take. Both people got to be mature for that to happen. And I think sometimes you have to understand too, is this a situation where we've just going in different directions, or is this a situation where love is going through ebbs and flows, but
Mm-hmm.
we still respect each other?
Right.
We still respect one another. There's no disrespect, but the connection is going through an ebb and flow right now, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
happens too
Right.
with the whole love and being in love. I think you got to put respect over love. Um,
Well, love isn't, I believe love is a action word, not a feeling word.
right, I
Because
agree.
because let's just say you one day you wake up and you're not feeling good. You're feeling just horrible. Do
Right.
you feel love? But if you love
No.
somebody, you're going to still get up. I'll still get up and cook you breakfast because I love you, but I don't feel like it. I feel awful, but I'm still going to do it. So love is not a feeling word, I don't believe. I believe it's an action word. You do it when you don't feel like it because that's just
Yeah.
how life is. We're not going to feel like doing something all the time.
Yeah. But yeah. I mean, it's an action word for sure. I mentioned that in the book. But respect will take you a long way. Respect will take you a long way. You know.
So would respect, okay. The type of respect you're talking about, would the respect motivate you to action when you don't feel like it? Is that what it would do?
Oh yeah, because I
Yeah.
respect the responsibility.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
respect my agreement with you as well.
Yes. Yes. You may say, you got to respect the agreement, even though, so we'll take countries. Countries do stuff all the time to one another, then they have an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, people break the agreement sometimes, but man, wouldn't it be nice to say for someone to say, I really want to bomb this country, but I respect the agreement we had. I'm going to respect the agreement. Or I really want to take that oil they have over there, but I respect the agreement we have.
Mm-hmm.
It usually doesn't go like that, you know,
Well,
because there's a
you
lack
know,
of respect.
what is the definition of love? And isn't one of the definitions of love respect? And what is the definition of respect? Isn't one of the definitions of respect love, and at least in some form? I mean, I don't know how, if those words, I mean, those words could definitely be interchangeable on some levels. Um, depending on what dictionary you look in, but I was thinking that
Yeah.
one of the definitions of respect was love.
Well, it doesn't come up as a synonym or similar word. It says esteem, regard, acclaim, admiration. Let's go. Reverence, uh, appreciation, value. Yeah, reverence, honor. Yeah, love doesn't come up though.
So what do you see that do you see are you if you have a dictionary pulled up, what does it say the definition of love is?
Let's see. Well, the noun version is an intense feeling of deep affection or a great interest and pleasure in something.
Okay.
The verb form feel deep affection for someone or like or enjoy very much. And see, yeah, it doesn't mention respect at all. See, love is fleeting. It's not stable. It comes and goes. Have you ever been in a situation in a relationship where you love the person, then something happens, you can say you can yell, you hate the person. Well, you
No,
never been in that situation?
I couldn't do that because if I love somebody, I do love them. I would never say I hate them because I don't feel like I hate them. I might be disappointed, I might be hurt, but I never could.
Oh, I felt that.
I
I
shouldn't say
felt
that. They say never, but I've never
right.
felt that.
Yeah, I felt that before. Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah,
that might be personality too, but that
right.
to me, it's like if I actually put that energy if I actually put that energy toward it to where and it takes me a long time, but if I actually put that energy toward it and I actually really feel like I love somebody, there is no way that I'm going to be trying to do anything like that. And that's just
Yeah,
me.
yeah. But so I take men for example. I can't speak for all men, but men chime in. I know when I went through uh, a breakup, it's been years ago. I didn't deal with it in a healthy way. My thing was to get back on that horse,
Mm,
go get with another woman. Way
yeah.
too soon though, way too soon, and I had to learn from that. I did that twice, way too soon. So by the time Yaya and I met, I hadn't had a girlfriend. I dated, but I hadn't had a girlfriend in 6 years. because I said, I need to break this cycle.
Yeah.
So I need to just chill, be by myself, and get to know me. And I did. I enjoyed life. I got to know me, and yeah. And so I think a lot of men fall into that. That we'll dive into another relationship really fast. Uh,
So
and- and-
why would you say that is? Is it to avoid the feeling of pain, or to avoid the feeling of the maybe I failed? I mean, what would make us? What do we do that for? I just,
yeah, I
because
think it'd be for
I know
different.
after mine, I'm just like, man, I tried so hard, but I was a failure, and that was my, man, I'm a failure. I tried so hard, I did everything I could. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Is it
yeah,
that feeling of I'm a failure that makes us try to do that?
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. I felt like that was crazy. I felt like that in my divorce. I felt like a failure, but I
Yeah.
wanted the divorce. I wanted it to end, but I still was embarrassed.
Yeah, yeah.
I was embarrassed. I felt like a failure,
Right,
because
exactly.
the whole family knows and
Yeah.
your friends know, like, and basically you did fail. You
Yeah.
failed. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So, um, yeah, you
Yeah.
failed. So it's embarrassing, and sometimes also a lot of people don't realize they're codependent.
Mhm.
Yeah, they don't realize, like, wow, man, I've been with a woman, I've had a girlfriend or a wife, whatever, since high school.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
my brother fell into that. He went from living with my mom, going to college, moving with my grandmother, and then moving with this girlfriend. They get married together for 20 years. He's never lived alone.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I
never
think.
lived alone. So then he gets a divorce and he's just all over the place. He's never been
Mm.
alone. So he doesn't know how to deal with it. And I think a lot of brothers fall into that. I can't really speak for women, but I know brothers fall into that a lot. You know, like sometimes
It might,
embarrassment and codependency.
yeah, it might depend. It just might depend. I mean, again, on personality, but for me, it's just kind of like, well, if I did everything I could, bent over backwards, tried, and I couldn't make him happy, maybe it's not even worth me trying anything again. You know what I mean? And and,
Yeah,
and see, that could be it could be. It just depends on, I think it just, again, probably depends on personality or whatever, how
yeah,
people think.
yeah. Lone Star says, "Get under her to get over the last wrong move." Yep, you're right.
Mm,
You're right,
mhm.
man. You're right. I've done that a couple of times, and really, it's not fair to myself, but it's not fair to the woman either, because you're being deceptive in a way,
Yeah,
because she
yeah.
doesn't know that. You're not going to tell her. You know,
I
I feel
messed
like
up.
I feel like a failure, and
Right,
I'm a
exactly.
codependent, and I don't know how it is to be without a woman. You're not going to say that. That's a turnoff,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
it's deception. It is. But yeah, I think a lot of brothers go through that. But do you think having a relationship like that fail, a marriage fail, can give you a complex to mess with your self-esteem?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So that's what I want
Definitely.
to dig into on the female
Because,
side. How can women get over that? Because I know women suffer from that a lot. Their self-esteem when the marriage or the relationship doesn't work. It's the self-esteem that really takes a hit. They get a complex. So how can women deal with that?
it's very, very painful. I would say tapping, EFT tapping, that really, really helps.
Mm,
Taking time to yourself, learning again, you need to learn to love yourself and take back your power that is your own feminine essence. Because when you go through something like that, you literally feel like your feminine essence is literally pulled out of you like that. And you're left as just this nothing almost for a while. And it depends. Again, it probably depends on the situation. But I don't know, tapping time, and I would say talking, like either talking to yourself or talking to a therapist for women. I think that's important. And that's how in the tribal gatherings, the women always had, they had their little groups of talking. Women need to talk. We do need space too, but I think for the most part, men tend to, from my experience of my brothers and stuff, when they're hurt, they tend to go out in the woods alone. There's something really healing about for them going out in nature alone. We can do that, but we still need to talk. And it's best to have a female friend, because you can talk to a male friend and they're just like, what's wrong with you? So the women in the tribes always had their, their female powwows or their whatever. They had their female rituals, and that was the reason, was so they could talk it out to heal themselves, because literally we do have to talk it out.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have to talk it out.
yeah. I was thinking about something. It kind of goes against what you're saying. But it's an opposing view, just a view.
Mm-hmm.
Say a brother, a man is hurting
Mm-hmm.
after a breakup. He's yearning for that feminine energy. He's lost that feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, as a man, being around other men when you're going through heartache, it doesn't help.
Yeah, I believe you.
I'm telling you, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what's soothing. As long as they have the right mindset, what's soothing is a hurting man being around feminine energy.
See, I agree.
Aunt,
That's why
aunts,
yeah.
mother, sisters,
Yes, I agree.
good female
Or
friends.
or nature, because you have to
Yeah,
realize nature is feminine. And I agree
yeah,
with you. And it's very interesting because everything has either a masculine or feminine energy. For example, coffee. You see people that really, really have this craving for coffee. Generally, they don't have enough feminine energy in their life. And you can look at all kinds of things,
right.
but everything, and you can even look it up online. Okay, I'm craving this all the time. Chocolate for women. Chocolate for women, when they start craving chocolate, it's because they do not have the security of a masculine energy in their life, and they're
It's
craving chocolate.
comfort food. Yeah,
It is, but it's a masculine energy. So
yeah,
you start looking at all these things. I suppose living out in the country, with my brothers, they would go to the woods because they didn't have, and we weren't allowed in that culture to interact. Single people couldn't interact, male and female. It was like the girls over here and the boys over here. So they would go out to the woods because they found that feminine energy was very healing to them.
mm,
Going walking in the woods, sitting, my one brother would be fishing, being out on the lake. All that is a feminine energy. Nature is feminine, a feminine soothing energy in
yeah,
general.
yeah. But
So yeah, I agree with you totally on that. That makes sense.
imagine a hurting
Mhm.
female that's hurting after a breakup with her guy, and imagine she had five strong men in her life, strong men, platonic relationships, strong men, solid men, give her a group hug. I think that masculine energy would just uplift her and could heal her. Them putting hands on her could really heal her, that masculine energy. And vice versa with the women putting hands, a group of women putting hands on a male.
Mm-hmm.
I really,
You're probably right. I've never thought of that because, for me, and that's probably again just nature. I would tend to pull away, like go as far away from a man as I possibly could, because I associated it with pain. So, again, that may be that. I had never thought of that before, but again,
I think it would be,
it's
yeah, I really do. I think it would be healing.
that's you're probably right.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's safe to say, we're gonna move on, but I think it's safe to say, don't do what I've done in the past. Like my guy Lone Star says, get under her to get over the last one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the wrong play. I'm telling you,
yeah,
that's the wrong play. Abort mission.
yeah.
And if you're gonna be alone, it's cool to be alone, but be alone for a limited period. Because it comes a point you can get too much into your thoughts and
Man,
become really,
I agree. I agree with
yeah,
you. And just
yeah, you
that
could be,
alone,
yeah, yeah,
I found that just that alone brings imbalance.
Yes,
Yes, it
yes.
is good. You have to be alone. You have to have that sacred space. You have to heal. You have to relearn to love yourself, which is the biggest thing. If you feel like
Mhm.
a failure, you don't love yourself. You have to relearn to love yourself. Once you feel that again, then if you stay in that too long, I feel like it brings imbalance again. It goes too far this way. I
No
agree with
doubt.
you. I
No
think
doubt.
that's an excellent point.
No doubt. Yeah, no man or woman should be alone too long, only for a limited period. I said that in the book too. The
Okay.
next topic: should women consult with their husbands about their clothes, hairstyles, and social media presence?
What do you mean console? You know how many women I hear them say, "Honey, does this make my butt look big? Honey, does this make?" I mean, that's
Let's
like,
pause. Let's pause. Let's pause right
you
there. Let's pause right there. I missed this comment. My sister Christine Tarver. She says I'm going through a divorce right now. Great info. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. You may say, well, it's a good thing. So I don't know what's going on, but I got this from out of all people, and you may not know this name, Phoenix, Young Jock. Young Jock gave some advice to a young lady going through a divorce. She was very emotional about it, and he said, "Don't celebrate the divorce.
mm-hmm.
Celebrate the opportunity to relearn yourself in a new beginning."
Mm.
Yeah. Don't focus on the divorce. I see divorce parties and celebrations. Don't celebrate
What?
that because
You
that's
see
negative.
divorce parties? What?
Oh yeah, yeah. Women do that all the time. So
What?
divorce parties. Yeah,
That's
we got.
insane.
Yes, hey, it happens. But don't celebrate the divorce because that's negative energy, really.
Yeah, totally.
So be positive and celebrate. Like this is a new chapter in my life, a new beginning. I get to relearn myself, and I embrace all the goodness that's coming my way. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry you're going through that. But think about the positive side of it. I've been through it. I know it's tough, although men and women have different emotions about it, I think. But we both go through the pain. So I get it. I get it, man. Thank you for
And
sharing
yeah,
that
I
with
just I just want to say, Kristen, if you want to reach out to me and talk, I know what it's like. Just you have my, I think you're on my contacts, so I'm here. Just let you know that. 'Cause sometimes we don't know where to turn, and we're just like, you know, it's hard, very
yeah.
hard.
Yeah. It's never good, never easy. But hey, it's a new chapter. It's a new chapter. So I wish you the best. And you want to reach out to me. I'm not a woman, of course, but I can I can give you the male perspective, some male energy, some advice, and do my part. So thank you for sharing that with us. But yes, should thanks, Christy. So should women consult with their husbands about their hairstyles, their clothing, and their social media presence? Should they consult with them? What's your
Like,
take on that?
what do you mean console? Like, ask them if they like it, or or what? Like, explain.
Uh, I think sometimes women know when they're on edge, when something might be edgy, and say, "Is this appropriate?" Ask,
I
"Is this
see. I
appropriate?"
see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, and of course, it's just me thinking. I'm not a female. I think innately it's in women to love attention, love to feel attractive, love compliments. I think that's the vanity of it. It's not totally bad. It's not arbitrarily a bad thing, but it has to be balanced, or it could go too far left. And so, um, you know, does a woman need to check with her man about hairstyles or clothing or social media presence? And is she receptive to that? Should she be receptive to that? He says, "Hey, that's too much. That's too much there. Yeah, you gotta change
Well,
that, or you need
well,
to take that pic down."
I mean, yeah. I think that when you're in a relationship, you have a right to, with each other. I mean, it would be, I would call it, positive possession or whatever you want to say, but not in a negative way, but in a positive way. And I think you should be open to giving and receiving on that level as well. That's just, it's not just the woman, but both. Sometimes maybe the man wants to do something that's kind of far out, and his wife should have the ability to say, this is just what I see or what I feel about it. What do you think? I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think it goes both ways, but I focused on the clothing, the
Uh-huh.
social media presence,
Well,
that type of thing, because
it's hard for me to say because I always wanted to hide in every kind of group. I always wanted to hide. So I don't know where that came from. I don't know if it was my brothers teasing me or what it was. I don't know.
you wanted
Um,
to hide.
yeah, I always wanted to hide. Man, I would be mortified if people called me out on something. So I mean, as far as pulling attention to maybe a dress that my mom sewed me or something, I honestly was like, like, but
Right.
I was always kind of a shy child, so I can't really speak for that because
But I
to
think you
me,
said you had that tomboyish in you growing up, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that's different though. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's
okay.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it might have a difference, if you grew up around boys, which I grew up around
right.
boys. I mean, in the home and in school, it was all there was one girl a class ahead of me, and that's it. It was all boys. So I
Yeah,
don't know. I'm thinking because now I'm having all these granddaughters, grandbabies, and it's like, oh wow, there all these girls. Now I get to see how girls actually interact with each other and how it's
right.
like I'm seeing, it's looking like the girls, one sets a standard and the other has to try to get to it and the other has to try to get to it. I'm seeing
Right.
that now, but growing up, because I was in classes of boys, there wasn't that.
So growing up, you didn't have the competition with the females, really.
I don't know. I didn't have girls around. I didn't know how to
Yeah.
interact with girls really because, like I said, there was one girl that was a class ahead of me and I hung out with her some.
Mhm.
But again, my parents didn't think it was a very, I mean, she wasn't just super the kind of girl they wanted me to hang out with anyway. So I wasn't really allowed to be with her that much. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I do think a man should temper a woman's uh, appetite for vanity, to be have attention, to be seen, to be he should temper that. Shouldn't
Yeah,
kill it.
balance, balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He shouldn't kill it. That's
Well,
how she's designed.
do you think that going too far that way is an insecurity?
Hey, I discussed this earlier with Yaya. A lot of it going too far is an insecurity,
Mm-hmm.
and I see a lot of women, and that's why I say women and men take divorce and break up differently.
Mm-hmm.
So I notice, not all, but I notice when a lot of women break up, you don't know what's going on, what went on in the marriage, in the
Mm-hmm.
relationship, what was said,
Right.
whatever. People can say some horrible things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I notice when they break up, they take more pictures, more selfies. Uh, they're
Because they're
starting to work.
insecure. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
probably
they're
because
starting to work.
they're feeling the rejection because
Yeah,
they were rejected. They couldn't make him
yeah,
happy. They weren't good enough. All these things play in our
yeah,
minds, the female mind. Um, we just weren't good enough. We must not be any good. We must
yeah.
we must just be whatever.
Right, right. And when I see that, I say to myself, and I don't even know these women, but I know that, okay, she was just married, and now she was with a guy. Now she's separated, broke up. Now she's doing this. I see the behavior changing, and I say to myself, man, she's really going through some insecurities, or
Pain. Yeah,
she's hurting. She's
yeah,
hurting,
pain.
and so I know what it is. Where I know some people would be like judging her and calling her names, and
Yeah.
but I know, I see what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when we're going back to that male energy hovering over that female hurting, I believe
Mm-hmm.
if a group of men came to that sister and hugged her, a group of men, and say, "We see you. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Calm down. We
Hmm.
see you. Calm down. It's gonna be all right." I think that would be more powerful than a group of women doing that to her.
You probably are right. You probably are right because again, like I said, since I didn't really interact with girls growing up,
Mhm.
there may be you may be right because if they're already feeling like the divine masculine energy is rejecting them, how is the feminine energy, who they may feel competition with, gonna? I see what you're saying. That's a very, very good point.
Well, what it is, you're going to the energy, the type of these men particularly didn't hurt you, but you're going to that energy, that masculine energy that hurt
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But that's also what you crave.
Hmm.
So you have to go back. You have to go back to it. Like when
Wow.
you grew up on horses, what they say, you get kicked off a horse or get booted off a horse,
Bucked.
get bucked off, get back on it.
Yeah, because if you don't, because if you get bucked off the horse and you don't get back on, then the horse has control of you and they know it. And the horses are very smart. If they buck
Yes,
you off and you don't get back on, then forever after that, you're not the master anymore.
exactly. Just like if a dog snaps at you, don't back down because
Hmm.
now you're not the alpha. You're
Yeah.
not the alpha. And so
Yeah.
that's just like with the relationship. The woman shouldn't run from the masculinity. Don't jump in a relationship right away, of course.
Hmm.
But go to
Right.
some brothers. Surround yourself with some brothers, platonic brothers who care about you, strong brothers that can surround you with that masculine energy. And the man should go around some strong sisters, platonic, that could give him that feminine energy around him that he's missing now. But he's craving it. He's mad at it, but he craves it too. It's
Yeah.
weird,
Because
right?
yeah. Well, and it just goes to show that we need each other for balance. We seriously do need
Right.
each other for balance. And so what about the women that don't have any male friends or anything? What about them? What can they do? What are some things that they can do that could heal if they don't have such a thing? Because like in my case, when that happened, I had absolutely nobody around. There was nobody.
Yeah, that's tricky, and for both people though, being in women is tricky if you don't have that.
Mhm.
There's men around, there's women around. You gotta just man. You gotta be careful. There comes that trust. There comes that trust again, right?
Again, yeah, and people get the wrong idea really easily.
They get the wrong ideal. You're in a vulnerable position,
Yeah.
man. That thing can go. It can go crazy. So, man, that's a good question. What if they don't have those male figures or the female figures for the man in their life?
Ideally, they would if we were in community settings, but we're not anymore, sadly. And
Right.
I know people that live in large cities and that are utterly alone with millions of people around them because the connections, it's hard to have those connections. People take it wrong. People
Yeah.
assume you want something that you don't want, and so on.
Yeah. And what's bad too, though, a lot of women in that situation would dive into church. They'll dive into church, and that's not
Mm,
always a good thing too, man. Those men and some men in there that are savages too. So
yeah, yeah,
that's not
absolutely.
always good.
Absolutely.
They can smell a vulnerable woman.
Yeah.
So that ain't no. And the brothers a lot of times will dive to the club. We'll
Hmm.
dive, and that ain't always good either. And yeah, it confuses things, right? Man, that's tricky. Yeah,
We need
I
to
don't,
we
I
need
don't.
to have more virtual communities everywhere where people can do this.
Right.
Because again, with everything digital, there's so little connection.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's something about when you're going through pain, there's something about hearing another human voice, not just digital. There's something about hearing another human voice that's healing, whereas they can text you a whole book of instructions or information, but you're not hearing the human voice, so there's really not a connection. It's,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see a lot of men doing it too. I know we started off just talking about the women, but a lot of men will they deal with things differently. They don't pose so much. because
Oh
it's
goodness,
different.
I've sure seen. I haven't been on social media long, but I'm like, man, I see all these men posing, but I don't see very many women. Maybe it's just where I'm
Well,
at, but
it's
I'm
a
like,
different.
what the
It's a
world?
yeah. It's a
I
different.
thought that was a girl thing, but apparently it's not.
Yeah. What I see with men who just suffered a breakup, what I see with men, they start talking about their job or their money, their new job or the new money they're making.
Okay,
That's what I see. That's what I
okay.
see. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
their security blanket.
yeah. That's their
Really,
security blanket.
when we're going through pain, something or another, we're grabbing on as a security blanket. Apparently, I mean, we,
Yeah,
that's just
yeah,
human nature.
yeah.
Just like when we're children, we get hurt and we cry, and we either run to our mom or we have something,
Right,
you know. And
right. Yeah,
it's self-soothing. We're supposed to learn to self-soothe ourselves, but I think maybe we get into
in a
the wrong
proper way.
thing because we don't have community. We don't have, for thousands of years, we all lived in communities. We had communities. If somebody was hurting, if somebody lost a spouse or a child, there were people around them all the time to help them heal. But now we are so secluded, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, this is my homie, my high school homie, my grown folks homie, and a good supporter of mine, Antonio Chambers. He says men express in a way it draws other men that can relate. Yeah, I agree with that to an extent. And I think we discussed this before. Like we have the power circle. A lot of brothers in here with the power circle. Soul, the creator, founder. Um, we have Lone Star, my brother Orlando, and the power circle is good, especially if you're going through it. It's good if you're not really going through it too, and you're in another level, you're expanding. But if you're going through it, it's good because you got a brothers coming around you, motivating you. But brothers are different though. Brothers are different, man. Like we could be ruthless. Like it's like a no, it's like
Man, I
let me explain. Like it's like we're on a basketball team or something. Like we're trying to motivate. Like man, get through it. Man, you can get through it. Man, like we're motivated, but the brother might need a hug, man. The brother might need a hug, and
he might need some feminine. Yeah, I see what you're
that's where
saying.
that feminine energy comes
And
in.
that makes sense. And that's why we really should have two virtual communities, one of each, and be able to interact that way, depending on what the need is.
Yeah, depending what the need is, but
Um,
if you're hurting over a female, man, that thing could go the wrong way if you're around a bunch of men because
yeah, I could see that.
you're gonna have some men say, "Man, let's go out, let's go holler at some chicks." You're gonna be have
Yeah,
some,
exactly. Pull you in the wrong direction so you don't
yeah,
heal. You just
and then
cover it up and not heal. Yeah.
you got the man that's saying, "Man, get over it." Like that's life. Get over it. Like he's not empathetic at all. And
Yeah.
then you got the brother who says, "Man, I feel you. You know, I've been there, but he ain't giving you no hug. He ain't giving you no
Yeah.
hug, man. And even if he give you a hug, it don't smell like perfume. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
sometimes you like the brother might need that feminine energy,
Yeah.
like
I that makes sense.
platonic feminine energy to just
That
hold
makes
him.
sense.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Hmm.
And give him that female advice. You know, it's different. A woman giving you the real about women than a man giving you the real about women.
Hmm.
And it's different.
Yeah.
A man giving a woman the real about men, opposed to a woman trying to give the real about men to a woman. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah, that does make sense. I think you're onto something. That's something that, I could see that really being beneficial to, get back into the, you know, and it may have to be a virtual community for a while, virtually because of how everybody's established or set up now, but I can
Right.
see that. I could actually see that. It's just would, there would have to be give and take and vulnerability and all kinds of things that might be fearful for a while to get used to that, because when you're hurting, it's like, man, it's scary to open up.
It
It
is
really
scary.
is.
So that's that being vulnerable and that trust. You know,
Yeah.
how can you tell a brother? Well, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the men now. How can a man tell a brother, man, I'm hurting, dog. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. Or man, like I'm hurting so bad, man. I drink every day over this chick, man. I'm hurting.
Yeah.
Man, you gotta tell the right brother that, or you can go the wrong way. And what happens a lot of times, man, we'll just keep it to ourselves, and that's
Yeah.
not good. That's
Yeah.
not good either.
I agree.
That's not good
Yeah.
either, man. So yeah, it's a weird. I think maybe I don't know. I'm not one. Of course, are women better at that? Going to other females and saying they're hurting over a guy? No.
No, I mean,
Oh,
I'm only talking for myself,
okay.
but
I
but
thought
it
women
depends.
were better at that. Yeah.
It depends. Some people will, but other people will bottle it up. Just become like that. Just bottle it up.
Yeah, but nobody's though. But I don't think a woman's gonna make fun of you if you break down and cry over your guy. You lost.
No, they might not make fun of you, but they are going to tell you, "Oh, he wasn't worth it. He was just this." Is that what you really want to hear? You don't really want to hear anything like that. He wasn't
So
worth it. He was just no good. Da 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 da. Okay,
yeah, that's true. That's true. I
that's not
told be
that's
like
not
I
going
told you.
to
I told you he wasn't no good. Yeah, that's true.
see.
That's
That's
true.
what they're going to say. Yes, I
Yeah.
told you.
Yeah.
I told you. That's not going to help at all because that's just going to push you deeper into that. You know, something you need to heal from, that distrust. It's going to push you deeper into a distrust of the masculine energy.
And I'm gonna tell you something was so cold blooded too. If he was a good provider and you told that woman a lot of good stuff about him, about his sex and about him providing, she'll go behind your back and try to get with him too.
Wow.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. She'll do it. She'll do it. So Kristen says nope. You're and Yaya says no. Ya-
Yeah,
Yaya says we
you're right,
struggle with
ladies. I'm
we,
glad it's not just me.
yeah, she says we struggle with trusting other females. Okay, so we all in the same boat then.
So
Wow, man.
again, it comes right back to we have to interact with each other to have balance. That's just all it is.
Wow, wow. Antonio says so true, Ms. Yaya. Wow. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I guess so. And I hear a lot of females saying they rather have male friends than female friends. I hear that a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel way
Yeah.
less judged for the most part. I feel less judged by male friends than female friends. I don't know why. Not always. It depends. It just depends, honestly.
Wow, wow. That's interesting. So let's move on. Last topic, being self-conscious in a relationship. Checks and balances. Is this healthy or unhealthy? So I'll take the lead on this. I broke this to you the other day. So that's funny. You brought up the first topic the other day, and I brought up this last topic. So uh, being self-conscious, I think it could be a good thing. If it goes too far left, it could be a bad thing. And what I mean by that is, it's good to care about how you present yourself. It's good to care. It's good to care and be conscious of what you say, what you present, how you act, what you do. And typically, we're only self conscious with people we're into,
We respect, right?
with respect and love.
Yeah,
Like,
respect.
I don't think we're self conscious about people we don't give a damn about,
I don't know. Probably
right?
not.
No, I don't think anybody
Yeah.
cares. Yeah, nobody's self conscious about that. So, but it can't go too far where it becomes overbearing and where you can't function and you're second guessing everything you're doing, right?
Hmm.
It can't
Hmm.
be that. But I think we need those checks and balances. Some things I don't do because I'm over them. Some things I don't do as much, and some things I don't do because I have a wife that's watching me. And when I say that's watching me, she's not watching me like a hawk, all in my business. And not, I'm not saying that. she's looking at me how I am subconsciously. She's watching me consciously and subconsciously. She's watching me how I communicate with other men, how I communicate with women, how I present myself, how I act, how I handle stress, how I handle confrontation, uh, how I love people. She's watching all of this, and so you know, I've had people try to come at me on Facebook. That's why I'm not on Facebook so much. They was trying to come at me when the political thing was going on. And I'm thinking, man, I knew this dude. I knew this little dude in high school, man. He would never come to me like this in high school. He would never. And I'm like, where this motherfucker live, man? Oh, he in Oklahoma. I was like, this dude. So I play it cool. I play it cool because I'm grown, but I also play it cool because people are watching me. I got teachers, I got good friends, I got pastors, I got my wife, I got kids watching me. That's causing me to be self-conscious. So that's in that way, it's a good thing. Got the checks and balances. Keep me from going over the edge with my masculinity, with my ego, right? With my bravado. It's keeping me going too far and it's a point of no return. So in that way, it's a good thing. But I don't think it's good when it's stopping you from being productive and moving forward and you're second guessing everything, like this nervous driver in life.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I don't think it's good that way. Yeah, but I think on the flip side, it's good for women too. So with the vanity thing, you know, understand that this doesn't represent my man properly. Um, I know I want to tell this chick off. I know I want to cuss her out, but this is a reflection on my man. You know what I'm saying? I know I want to do this, but this is a reflection on my kids, on my mom, on my dad. That's self-conscious. But it shouldn't handicap you and handcuff you to where, like I said, you're driving nervously through life. Yeah. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to be free to be yourself.
Right.
If you're gonna be feeling a certain way to where you can't be yourself, that's not going to work,
Yeah.
because eventually that's going to break down. You can't be somebody you're not. But at the same time, I believe it goes back to respect. If you respect, it's more. I would call it more respect than self, because you respect your family enough that you're not going to make a scene or do something like that. But you respect yourself enough to be yourself. But if there's issues that you have that you need to heal, you also respect yourself enough to heal those issues. So there isn't something, you don't have an outburst or a anger, whatever it is that
All
causes,
right.
you know what I mean, to disrespect your family by being crazy or whatever it
Right.
is.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I don't think it's a bad thing across the board, but yeah. But if a person respects you, they're gonna check themselves. Yeah, they're gonna check themselves and say, this isn't how I want to represent myself or the people I'm connected to. Yeah, I just,
Hmm.
that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Anybody want to chime in on that? Anybody in the chat room? Man, I want to kick a shout out to y'all, man. We got to get y'all a name. We can't use toasters. We got to get y'all a name. I'm all about
Yeah.
names, man. I got nicknames for all my kids, and when I got with Yaya, I gave her kids nicknames, man. And I give homies nicknames. People love nicknames. I think it's a term of endearment. It makes them feel appreciated. So, but anyone want to chime in? I want to thank y'all for joining us,
There's
though.
been
Really do.
there's been some good comments. It would be nice to have some people come in and hear their voices. That would be nice.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's a good idea. Let me do this. That's a good idea. Let me put the
Bring their healing energy into the circle.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody want to come in? There's a link. Anybody want to tap in just for a few minutes, a few seconds? Thank you, brother. Thank you, soul. You want to come in, brother? Give the benediction.
Yeah, the benediction to the end of the sermon, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah,
No.
this was a good discussion, and so I hope it helps someone out. Kristen, I hope you're going through that healing process and understand the good side of what you're going through, the positive side. And so yeah, I hope this helps someone out, man. Lone Star, my brother, yeah. He said my brother Soul said he's in a loud place. Well, man, I appreciate you for even tapping in, man. I do. I appreciate the support. Lone Star, Kristen, Orlando, who else in there? Antonio, Yaya. Yeah, I know some people just don't, they don't come in a lot of times, but I want to appreciate y'all. Next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. I want to thank you, Pheonix. Man, this was good. This is really good. I appreciate you, and I'm sure we'll be chatting before next Tuesday. But Yaya says I enjoyed these topics. Great conversation. Thank you, babe. Hey, everyone, enjoy your evening. As always, love, peace.